But first, breaking news just in the past few minutes, the White House might have gotten a Christmas reprieve, an early present, you might say, from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. There was an upcoming political disaster. However, the end of Title 42 at the border is now on hold. In other words, the expected 15,000 illegal immigrants coming across the border when Title 42 ended later this week will just be a trickle, a mere 6,000 to 8,000 people a day. A quick reminder, Title 42 is the Trump-era policy allowing Border Patrol to expel about half of the illegal immigrants that come across because of the COVID emergency. Even with Title 42, illegal immigrants now fill Border Patrol facilities to 4 or 5 times their capacity till they can be processed, with about half getting a free ticket into America. Here is the White House today.
The border is not open. And so I want to be very clear about that, because we were doing the smuggler's job if we spread misinformation.
Right. So according to the White House, if you talk about what's happening at the southern border, you talk about all the people flowing across, all the people being allowed into the United States, all the drugs coming across, if you talk about any of those things that are seen on videotape, you are spreading misinformation. These pictures that we are now seeing, this is from a congressman shooting inside one of the Border Patrol facilities, El Paso, Texas, on Saturday. They look an awful lot like the ones we saw in 2019, families packed into tight spaces while they wait to seek asylum. Back then, you might remember, every news outlet covered the story every hour on the hour. Kids were in cages. Lately, you haven't heard much about the border, despite the fact that the pictures look exactly the same. Right now, Customs and Border Protection agents say 7,500 people a day cross into the country. That's 98,000 roughly every 2 weeks. If you're wondering, that's the size of the University of Alabama's football stadium entering the country every 2 weeks. Those are the people we know about. Of course, there are the gotaways, thousands per day, that we don't know about. Many of the people who come across turn themselves into Border Patrol and then are released, end up on the streets of El Paso and other border towns. Right now, it is below freezing in those towns as the sun sets. Uvalde, Texas, about 45 miles from the border. Immigrants are sleeping on their streets as well. Mayor Don McLaughlin joins us from Uvalde. Mayor, it's good to see you. How long can this continue?
Well, it's been going on now for the last year, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, we're seeing, pursuits every day with the coyotes and the smugglers. Then the Border Patrol, on top of that, is starting to release migrants back into our community because they don't have the facilities to hold them or process them. So they're bringing them to communities like ours who aren't set up to handle them.
I think you talk about the smuggling and the chases that come through Uvalde. That's different, right, than the people who have been coming across by sort of record numbers in a relatively controlled way. They come across illegally and they turn themselves into Border Patrol. These are different groups of people, right?
Yes, sir. They are a different group of people. These are people that don't want to get caught.
Okay, this video from El Paso, this is Jorge Ventura. These are the people who would come across and turn themselves into Border Patrol. It's the gotaways and the unknown gotaways that in a place like Uvalde you are dealing with. How is keeping Title 42 in place going to affect a town like Uvalde?
Well, here's what the Border Patrol told us on December the 21st, to expect for them to start dropping 180 people a day in Uvalde. I mean, on December the 21st, we don't have the resources. We don't have the transportation here for them. We don't have the ability to feed them. We don't have the ability to house them. So we're here, 3-4 days before Christmas, we're going to be scrambling. What do we do with 180 people a day coming into Uvalde?
As we understand it, at least if the Supreme Court ruling holds, that's not going to happen, at least so far. Has Border Patrol talked to you about dropping any people off because of the overcrowding they're dealing with right now?
They will give us no more than about 24 hours notice. So it could come tonight, it could come tomorrow. We put a call into them today to find out if we needed to be prepared or anything, but we didn't get a response back today.
All right, so thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.